guys, show your, open your cameras, who you are. Yes, it's good to see your faces.
Yeah.
Hello.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid about English. Try to listen and understand what we are discussing, what we are talking about. And in the end, I will give you some minutes to you ask questions to Professor Franciane. If you wanted to type the question, yes, you can ask. But in English, try to use the English. Let's practice the English. Okay?
Yeah, yes.
I would like to say a special thank you to Dr. Nairi Okoya, that's in the virtual room. She was my sponsor during PhD, and thank you.
So, as you know, Professor Franciane Pellizzari is our guest for tonight, but let me officially present her. So let me show you. Let me just show you. So here, can you see? This is a picture. The date is not correct here. Today is Thursday, not Tuesday. Really sorry. But our guest for today is Professor Franciane Pellizari from Unespar, Campus Paranaguá. And I found it so beautiful, this picture. I remembered, I forgot the name, who wrote the Teoria da Evolução das Espécies, Charles Darwin. Darwin, yes. He sailed around the world and he's researched about the wildlife. It's similar to Professor Franciane. She has already sailed around the world to research about the real...
Almost, not yet.
Almost. Not yet. So Professor Franciane is PhD in marine ecology from USP, University of São Paulo. She got her postdoctoral in 2016 and also another in 2019 from the Department of Biological Oceanography. She's an associated professor in the biological sciences and the professor in a post-graduation program, island and coast environments. She's also a coordinator of a ecology and marine water quality laboratory at Unespar, Campus Apucarana. And Professor Franciane also has an English proficiency certificate. She got this certificate from the International Preparatory Course. It was in Florida, Pompano Beach in 1997. So she has been using English since a long time ago, since 1997. So she got the certificate. So it's really important to get a certificate of proficiency in English. Yeah. So good evening, Professor Franciane. I would like to thank you for accepting our invitation. And let me close the presentation here.
Thank you very much. It's Campus of Paranaguá, not Apucarana. Good evening, everyone. Appreciate the kind introduction. And well, first, thank you to you, Professor Alexandre, for inviting me to this English experience talk. I think that's important for us and also for the students that's in the virtual room. Aiming to share a little about my international experience with you, and it's a great pleasure. Thank you to my students, professora Nairi Okoya, to Professor Renan, que é o nosso pró-reitor de pesquisa e graduação, for being here. Well, you have any questions?
Yes, I prepared some questions to Professor Franciane. Sorry, I said, did I say Campus Apucarana? No, oh no, Campus Paranaguá, sorry. I am from campus Apucarana, and Professor Franciane is from campus Paranaguá. Sorry, a mistake. It's a little bit far from one another. Yeah? So, Professor Franciane, I told people that you have a certificate, proficiency certificate, English proficiency certificate. Can you tell us how important was English language in this process, your academic career, and how could you develop your abilities, your language speaking, listening, reading skills during this period you have been abroad?
Okay, to answer this question, I will tell you a short history. Considering the English in my life and in the whole academic process, my first contact with English was at school. I was always reading books in English. My grandfather, that was physicist, had a small library at home with books and many in English and other languages and many dictionaries. Dictionaries, physical book. I don't mean book. And at first, I didn't take any. However, I started to improve have more contact with English in university, the undergraduate course, where I took the instrumental English 2, that are two different courses. And instead of medical science course in 1992, we used English in classes via English papers and chapters required by teachers in paper copies. And making the translations using dictionary, physical book, not the Google Translator. That's not bad. That's not good to learn. I was getting and also at the beginning of my undergraduation in the scientific initiation program, nowadays, to get on board to science with Professor Federico Brandini and many nationalities. And I began to be shameless to speak English, because to write English, to read English is one thing, and to speak English is another thing. And be shameless to speak.
Sorry.
Sorry for interrupting you, Professor. I think there is a problem. I don't know if the microphone, your microphone, sometimes it's silent. Really sorry.
And now?
I don't know what's happening.
Calorinha, você está usando a internet? I will try to use my cell phone.
Okay.
Because I think my internet in the house is not very good.
By the way, internet in Brazil is sometimes terrible.
With games, for this I have to change the that's okay. What's this one? iPhone. And now, better?
Yes.
Thank you. So where until where you heard what I said?
Not using Google Translator to publish the.
Yeah. Okay. Also, at the beginning of my undergraduation, during the initiation, scientific initiation program, I started to get on board to sampling in Ontario. And as the international territory, South Pole, we lived with people of all nationalities and I began to be shameless in speaking English. I think that this was okay. And when I graduated in Florida, a mix of cultural and academic exchange, plus a 3 months of intensive course for English proficiency in an international preparatory school that is a public school mainly for immigrants, and in Pompano Beach. There, in that time, my ex-boyfriend lived. So it was a great opportunity. It's a free course that you can get some access to English course for free in the States. And also during a year, I did internship in marine aquariums such as dolphin research and Gumbo Limbo environmental education, attending as voluntary the touch tank. Touch tank is a kind of tank there where kids touch the starfish, the seaweeds, the sea urchins, and with hands to learn caring the ocean and as a way of environmental education. And also another interesting aspect that helped me a lot at this time, I was 21 or 22 years old, was weekends as a babysitter. And this both experience, touch tanks and babysitter, was very good because helped me improving my English skills, because the kids correct you spoken English naturally, with no shame or inhibition. So this experience helped me a lot. And later, in 2002, between 2002 and 2006, I have a note for dates. My doctor and postdoctoral that was in Brazil, but already participating in projects with international cooperation, such as Data, Prontar, SARSI, and certainly in that time, the English language helped to open doors in academic level. Certainly, English makes it easier to meet people, and cooperation is essential in any activity. So this English knowledge not only provides you an advantage in terms of personal development, but is crucial for professional skills and professional development. So for me, I never saw English as an obstacle, but as a need, because we need in undergraduate course, we need in a master, we need in the doctoral program. And I saw as a unique advantage that brought my work on the world, and mailing as a biologist, specialist of seaweeds from remote areas, it was essential. For this question is this. If you have any questions more about this.
Okay. So, Professor Franciane...
It's better, the internet, the signal is okay?
Okay. Can you hear everybody? Is there any problem?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no problem for me.
Okay. So, Professor Franciane has been to other countries, studying, researching, and what were, can you say about the activities you developed there related to English language, publications, scientific publications, research? Can you tell a little bit about this process?
Yeah. I've been visiting and having the opportunity to perform field sampling, technical visits in many universities, attending courses, congresses, symposiums, lectures to several countries, such as United States, besides Florida, New York, California, Boston, Antarctica. It's a great place to meet people around the world, and also with scientific cooperation with Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay, mainly in the logistic process, but you meet people from these countries. Also a technical visit to Canadian Arctic recently, and Atlantic Oceanic Islands, where this group of my students also work. Not only the Brazilian ones, such as Ilha da Trindade or Archipelago de São Pedro e São Paulo, where I coordinate projects, scientific projects with Brazilian federal and state fundings. Also, in 2008, I've been in Japan with some amazing experience during 40 days on a technical visit. In the SARS South American Group on Coastal Ecosystems, Colombia, Venezuela, Caribbean Islands, and congresses in Europe and in other countries. So what I see is that all these countries brought to me experience and people contact, such and countries with different rules and laws and we definitely in Brazil, we are the most creative people in science. However, with funding resource limitations, as well, no different history, cultural and social aspects that helps to enrich my life as personal, but mainly as professional.
So how nice, Professor Franciane hasn't been only to English language countries, no, many other countries, Uruguay, well, Canada, they speak both English and French, huh? but English, yeah? But you have been to Antarctica, how nice.
Michelle also, we have Michelle, Dr. Nairi Okoya also that is in the virtual room. Our here, even being that South Pole.
South Pole, no, I can't believe it, that. So I only can imagine the penguins there, but not people, scientists in Antarctica.
Oh, no.
And to travel to many countries, travel around the world, Japan, Professor said, Canada, Antarctica, we need money, yeah? And how did you do, Professor Franciane? What are the costs of a trip like that? Did you have a fellowship, grant, governmental money, I don't know, funding?
Mainly are from governmental money, governmental fundings. First of all, studying marine biologists in remote areas is essential to publish and to submit scientific projects to get funding because it's a quite expensive science sometimes. And this kind of science, these people that in the virtual room knows about it, but it's good to say again, it's crucial nowadays because climate is changing, our resources are vanishing, and sea waves are good indicators for these goals. So this kind of research is very important, and we need to prove this to the governmental agencies because these people are essential in this process. This type of research demands a highly specialized logistics. And I have some pictures here that will show you using navies of research and using Navy and research ships that are suitable and adaptable to perform science in extreme areas. So it's very expensive. In the special case of PROANPAR, each triennium, the CNPq launches the call for scientific projects that will be analyzed by experts and judged if it deserves grant or not. And your experience and your curriculum lattice, of course, are the key for the whole this process. Talking about values, to have an idea, last top grant value for each project was between 1 to 2 million. So it's a little bit expensive, and in this budget only covering or providing scholarships, master degree, doctoral materials that sometimes are very
expensive chemical products, equipments, flight tickets to Chile and back, right? Brazilian Navy ship for refueling, and before to leave to Antarctica. But all the logistics, of course, on board, including beds and meals, are supported by Brazilian Navy. So in this process of projects regarding considering marine science, the Brazilian Navy has a very important role. And of course are supported by Brazilian Navy that has not only military and research interests, but also National Antarctic Treaty.
So Professor Franciane said millions of, no, million, too expensive. A process like that.
For 3 years and include fellowship for doctoral, master degree students. So it's a little bit expensive. And we have in science equipments that are the price of a car. So,
And what about the process of receiving this money, this governmental money? It's from CNPq, CNPq.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a mix of CNPq and CAPES. So CAPES will support the fellowships for the students, and CNPq will support the equipment, the material, consumption material. So it's like a consortium. And Brazilian Navy will support the transfer of the research to São Paulo.
Is it possible, Professor Franciane, when the government, the people, the staff, governmental staff changes a project like this, suffers, so you cannot continue this project when there is no more money, when government cuts the money, when they change the government, no more money. It happens to you.
It happens sometimes. We are facing now the worst moment to science in Brazil, but I think only in Brazil. We are in a global crisis, so I think that it's not only Brazil, but sometimes we have cut in fellowship for students. We have cuts in the grant for equipments, the economic situation because this money is for taxes.
It's a pity. It's a pity because research is so important to developing the science in Brazil. I don't have words to express how important it is.
Essential.
Essential, yes, thank you. It's essential. And people and government, some people, some presidents, governors, they send the money to other purposes and not to develop science, education, and other important things. And many brains of Brazil leave our country because they cannot work here.
But many brains for Indian leave India, and we have this kind of issue around the world, I think. In this moment, we are facing a very difficult situation in science in Brazil. We have fellowships, values that was already approved by CNPq. It's the situation right now. But I think that Brazilian people works very hard to resume. We are creative.
And I think that will be better soon.
Even without money, we can create other ways of researching, because Brazilian people are really creative. Yes, it's possible. Huh? Oh, I hope so. I hope so. And a person, one of your students, they must want to go to Antarctica, to research in Japan, in other countries, and to initiate, to start this process. What do you recommend these people? Go on a post-doctoral course, master degree course. What's necessary to do?
Study. Master degree. And we have fellowships in Brazil for this. And for science is essential, this career. I think that I would suggest also cooperation, always cooperation with good and creative people. Be selective. Choose people with similar way of thoughts. In a boat, we paddle together in synchrony. There is a notion of good possibilities, and thus always because in science, and nobody accomplished great achievements alone, and this BFI initiative is commendable for that, for stimulating to share experience. And I would say study and read a lot. Something I developed for you, and avoid shallow thoughts. That's the worst problem and issue that we are facing now in the world. People are shallow, and this is very bad for society. And try harder every day, every morning. Nothing. And work with the ocean maybe in areas difficult to navigate. That's very so. Fact, teach research in Brazil. Besides to teach these aspects and care nature, but I highly recommend publish data to specialize in the because science and research. I think that.
And study English, yes, it's essential, yeah.
English, study English. I mean only English, because English is the international language.
Yes.
And it's very demanding. So,
yes, it's it's called lingua franca. There is this term, lingua franca. It's a language used for communication, for arts, for science, for commercial, for trading, for everything English is used.
Everything is important to mention also that biology articles are mostly published in English.
Oh, yes.
Including the Brazilian journal. We have excellent Brazilian journal as Biota Neotrópica, Revista Brasileira de Botânica, good quality magazines with high impact factor require publication in English.
Yes, they publish in English here in Brazil, even here in Brazil. How nice, how good opportunity to develop our skills. Yeah? So concerning to publications, Professor Franciane, can you share with us some of your publications, because you have been publishing a lot in English? Yeah?
All these people here together.
Ah, how nice.
May I share the presentation with you?
Yes, okay, please.
And in this presentation, I have some examples. Did you see my screen?
Yes, I can see. Yes.
Okay. There are here some examples of recent publications, such as Journal of Sea Research, Polar Biology, Marine Pollution Bulletin, that was the master degree of Shelley, Microbial Ecology. This is a book that was edited by Chilean colleagues. That book is entitled Antarctic Seaweeds, and we have the opportunity to participate in 2 chapters. One is biogeography of Antarctic seaweeds facing climate change, and the other one is diversity of Antarctic seaweeds. This is Ciência Marina, that is a magazine from Spain, from Barcelona. Note that even Brazilian data from Brazilian ecosystems are usually published in international journals in our work field. This may guarantee higher impact and higher circulation. And this is another example that even when we publish in a Brazilian journal, because Biota Neotropica is a Brazilian journal, we gonna publish in English. That means that science, global and standard language is English. Well, now this most of the students here knows this thing. We have Instagram, that our professional Instagram called FICO Polar Tropic. If you can visit, you will have more pictures and information about what we do. As I mentioned before, I started early on the road, 18 years old, always being curious for life and a certain person. So in Florida, my experience with it was very helpful. This is a touch thing that I mentioned before, where kids touch the animals, in the case, to learn about environment. This is was during my PhD. I had a unique opportunity of a technical visit during 40 days supported by Japan International Cooperation Agency. We need to study and discuss coastal monitoring and conservation with cooperation with the university. So these are some pictures of technical meetings, discussions, divings and seaweed sampling. This was a visit to seaweed farm. This green seaweed, we have 2 groups of seaweed, green, red, and brown. This is a green one, and it's called the monostroma. Monostroma is used as a season over some octopus dumpling and other dishes and salads. And we have in Brazil seaweed that's very similar in compounds and uses, that's called and I work with these species during my PhD because we described the taxon as a new species. In 2009, in California, a technical visit to Scripps Institution of Oceanography. But I always would like to remember and to mention that the Antarctica and seaweeds put me on the international road, or better, in the international ocean, where without English I would have faced many limitations. In this slide, we have some pictures of seaweed samplings along the South Shetland Islands. And I'm working in algae, starting with phytoplankton, and in my PhD start to work with seaweeds especially. Here, subtitle seaweeds picture, the cute fauna, the penguins, and there's some kind of analysis that we perform in the lab. Along all these years, I've been specialist in remote islands and remote systems, marine biologists and oceanographers, freelance maps. And in these maps, we can see our labs. This is a developed in São Paulo, in the middle of the Atlantic. This is Comunidade, and here we have Antarctic Peninsula. And also in Comunidade, that is ocean island, almost halfway to Africa. Shows that the island, the support of this research to the island is also provided by Brazilian aid. This picture, here picture of the crew, the dress code in the ship, and a little bit of our beautiful seaweeds underwater. Well, back into Antarctica, some more pictures. 2018 was 26 years later, considering the first expedition. And a little explanation about the surveys. Surveys in Antarctica last 30 or 60 days during also summer, that goes from October to February. And it's valid to mention that life on board in confinement and in a military ship is a quite different experience due to a hierarchy system. So you meet people, also you meet people of many generations, people of different academic levels, and also people with some aspects of cultural and social aspects that could be different. So this demands hard discipline and respect, aiming to enjoy a good and peaceful interaction. Well, because if not, things can get complex and tricky. This is the fearful Drake Passage, the wild confluence of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, where the waves and the winds may be strong and giant and really extreme and dangerous to navigation. So it's not so easy to research in this area. For this, I say that passions is good. This is Navio Polar Almirante Miano, Brazilian Navy, that provides all the support in Antarctica. Extreme environment means extreme sampling. These pictures, and also we use not only heavy clothes, but heavy apparatus, like sampling. And I know that besides this is not the main goal of this speech, but is an interesting question. Why study Antarctica? Why Antarctica? I have many reasons to Antarctica, but the main reason is that cold influences the planet's climate, and also mainly Antarctica is isolated, and so can be a good model, biological model for predicting biotic and abiotic impacts, and mailing basic changes. And also these places, as extreme places, have stored cooler biodiversity. That's changing. So it's hard to stop. Seaweed biogeography plus taxonomy plus ecology. Why is it important? Supplements evaluate the systems of seaweeds species and as well it's aiming to preview and to mitigate some changes that we're gonna face in the future. So I think that this kind of research called attention because you can join conservation and applied science in the same research. A little bit more about the logistics support, some good pictures of Antarctica. This is the massive ship laboratory where we develop some activities, mailing, screening, and washing process, and also chemical preservation of biological material that will be transported to Brazil, aiming to further analysis this how these projects are in cooperation with many laboratories in many countries. Sometimes the whole material that's sampled from Antarctica when get Brazil gonna be distributed to the different laboratories. Beautiful, but not simple. Another beautiful picture. And in the same time, concomitant with Prontar, I became a scientific member of the Southern Group on Coastal Ecosystems that aims to perform longitudinal monitoring of biodiversity. And we had meetings in different countries. And in 2020, a very good team of authors from several countries and expertise published this beautiful in 2018, I became also an advisory board and member and writing team member of the experts on education, made in a division called Division for Ocean Affairs and the Loss of the Sea. And in the beginning of this year, I think that was March, we have the launch of the second World Ocean Assessment that I had the opportunity to participate in 2 chapters in the volume 1, chapter 6G, Plants and Archaeology, which this that is also grown, and in the volume 2, chapter 17, Changes in Seaweed Harvesting and Uses. So this huge publication, because it involved more than 600 experts around the world, aimed to provide scientific information on the states of the marine environment and in a more comprehensive and integrated manner to support decisions and actions for the achievement of sustainable development goals, in particular the goals 13 and 14 that are climate changes and marine biodiversity respectful. As well, the implementation of the United Nations Oceans Decade. And then we have one more Instagram to visit that is at Década dos Oceanos _Unespar. This is pictures of another technical visit in 2019, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration of US, Universidade de Montreal, and this article was published in our magazine. Eu caí? Vocês estão aí, é que eu ouvi
Yep, I can see you.
No.
Hear you too.
Ficou um vácuo, eu falei, caímos.
No.
Sorry. Okay. This is an article of our magazine, Paraná Faz Ciência, that reports the relevance of the science programs supported by CNPq, CAPES, Fundação Araucária, SETI, CECIRME, in academic international development, as well in human resources and for scientific communication, such this kind of program.
This was published in Revista de Jornalismo Científico e Cultural da Universidade de Brasília. And this is a cute fauna again. And remember that first today. And please visit the at that's it. Thank you very much to all these institutions that support me all these years, and thank you. And I really appreciate the invitation and the opportunity.
So how nice, how interesting, Professor Franciane. So being a marine biologist is not only studying about the sea life. No, it's related to climate change, to the environmental damage, to many other things that can happen in the future, and we have to study now to avoid future problems. So it's a much more broader area. It's not only researching about seashells or just fish. No, it's an open area. Really, really interesting. Really interesting, this area, this piece of science.
Very important to conservation. Marine biology means marine conservation, and people have difficulty to understand that the poles are the artificial. So for this, it's very important to study these ecosystems. And also we have many applied sciences inside marine science, example, that's in the room is study antioxidant activity potential of stripes of seaweeds that have many potential for pharmacy. So it's broad. Mm-hmm. And interesting. And I think that people that work with biology need to have to improve and to make a difference, because the planet needs people that will make a difference in the future. Now we are seeing that science is important because before this people, okay, science, but with little. So I think that we have something to review now. We have homework with this whole pandemic situation. And science is important. Every kind of science is important. I think that's it.
It is important, but they don't think so. So we are depending on them. So
yes, we need to communicate. This kind of program is important. Instagram is important. And teachers are important. Teachers are important. People also don't think that. Very important.
So I would like to open for a question. We have 4 minutes more. Would you like to ask Professor Franciane any question? If you cannot say in English, okay, say in Portuguese. The thing is you participate, you take part on our discussion. If you want to write any question.
Sayuri
no? No question?
Vocês conseguem me ouvir? O áudio tá ok?
Yeah.
There is a noise here, a big noise. I don't know where it's from.
I think it's some static from your microphone.
Because they are close. You're side by side, maybe.
They live together in São Paulo.
Agora tá certo. Vocês conseguem me escutar?
Okay.
First of all, congratulations for academic certificate. You are an inspiration. And I have a question. How you prepare for a presentation in English for native speakers or fluent speakers?
Better you write, please.
Noise. Yeah, please write because it's a very hard noise. Could you please write the question? I understand that it's something about making a presentation for native speakers, English speakers, right? But
yes, that was the question, making a presentation for native speakers. How difficult, how easy was it?
I think that when you speak for a native audience, people know that you are not a native speaker. So I think we don't need to be worried with this, because people will understand that you have a few mistakes in pronunciation. My pronunciation is not perfect, including the accent for Florida that people hate, but hey, because I learned with the people from Florida. And I think that people will understand that you're not a native speaker. I think that's important to write in a perfect way. But speak for all audience, they will understand that you're not a native speaker. We see in Brazil as a country of immigrants, people that live here for 30, 40 years and have a different accent, have a different manner to speak. So I think that you don't need to worry with this. You need to worry to write a beautiful slide to show with a beautiful graph or a picture with the notes in a perfect English, but don't worry about your perfect English, because people will know that you're not native. So this is, I think in this, when I have a speech to do in front of only native speakers, so Australians, New Zealand, and North American people. And I think, and you can have Ansiodoro. That's a natural medicine. Down,
So any other question? No?
Oh, thank you. I asked because I have a presentation tomorrow.
I know
I
that.
am very nervous.
You don't need it. You don't need it. If you want, what time gonna be tomorrow, your presentation? We can have a preview in the morning, maybe. What do you think?
Vai ser amanhã, meio-dia.
Meio-dia, if you wanna practice around 10 o'clock, we can do this. Okay? Don't be nervous, and we're gonna be there 10 o'clock to preview.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for you.
Any other comment? No?
Michelle, Melissa?
No?
I can a question?
Oh, for sure.
course.
First, and congratulations. As important, I know your research is very important, and for you and people in general. Né? I want to know how long time do you research life ocean? How long time do you research
in Antarctica?
Yes, Antarctica.
In Antarctica.
Two questions. You do have a term more important inside in your researches?
The first one, my first survey to Antarctica, I was a student of scientific initiation. I was 18, so it's a long time ago. I think 1992 when I start biological science. But of course, I do not even been there all these years. I had in 2018 my 13th expedition, and I think it was good because along all these years I had the opportunity to see Antarctica changing. It's not good. It's not good. It's awful. It's terrible. But all these years, when I in the first time that I even been there, I saw different things that I see when I go now, or when I went 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So I think it's a lot of time. I have about 500 days in the sea in Antarctica. This is more than many sailors. So I see some things, interesting things in Antarctica. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not everybody that likes to research in polar zones, because it's not easy thing to do. Is science, is a field science that's very challenging. But I highly recommend. I highly recommend. But I recommend a little bit passion also, because without passion you cannot come back to there, because there are gray days, awful conditions of the sea. If you get seasick, don't go to Antarctic. So this. And sorry, Professor, the second one I didn't understand. You may you repeat, please? The second question.
Do you have preferential term your research?
Preferência what?
Term your pesquisa.
Okay. If I have a kind of subject that I prefer.
Yes.
I like taxonomy and macroecology of isolated areas, because these isolated areas are natural laboratories, and you can see the big picture with a few amount of data. So I think I like this area. I really like seaweeds. I started with phytoplankton that are amazing ecological, ecological role are very important, but I really like seaweeds. The colors and the sampling seaweeds is always very fun. João Pedro, that's in the room, very likes the sampling of seaweeds in Ilha do Farol. Ilha da Trindade. And I think this macroecology taxonomy thing is my favorite subject in science. But I like marine science in general. I start with dolphins. I work with dolphins in one of the internships that I performed in Florida was with dolphins. But I really like seaweeds and macroecologists. Definitely.
So I would like to continue this discussion, but time is over, unfortunately. And I know Professor Franciane has another appointment. So I'd like to thank all of you for participating, for asking. Professor Franciane, I know you have a busy routine, but you could stop a little bit and talk to us. PFI, thanks a lot you for participating with us and sharing your experience. So I'd like to say many, many, many thanks, Professor Franciane and all, Professor Renan, other people who were here discussing. And in English, it's a challenge. Express our opinions in English, sometimes it's hard, but that is a challenge. But we could. I think you did a nice job. And congratulations for your English, Professor Franciane. Good, no, you have a good level of English. Nice. And that is it. That's it. Thank you
very much for the opportunity. YouTubers, please follow at Phycopolar and Década dos Oceanos _ Unespar. Please, you're going to enjoy these two sites.
Please follow. And also, please follow our channel, PFI Unespar channel. Yes. So all these meetings, these interviews, these conversations are going to be available there. So I don't have more words, just a thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So, see you around. Thank you for participating.
Yes.
Thank you.
See you. Have a good night.